Why, Cochran? Why? Do I need a reason? Mr. Kupfer was right, you know. I do love a good joke, and this is the best ever. A joke on the children. But there's a better reason. You don't really know much about Halloween. You thought no further than the strange custom of having your children wear masks and go out begging for candy. It was the start of the year in our old Celtic lands, and we'd be waiting in our houses of wattles and clay. The barriers would be down, you see, between the real and the unreal. And the dead might be looking in to sit by our fires of turf. Halloween. The festival of Samhain. The last great one took place 3,000 years ago, and the hills ran red with the blood of animals and children. Sacrifices. A part of our world. Our craft. Witchcraft. To us, it was a way of controlling our environment. It's not so different now. It's time again. In the end, we don't decide these things, you know. The planets do. They're in alignment, and it's time again. The world's going to change tonight, Doctor. I'm glad you'll be able to watch it. And happy Halloween.
Happy, happy Halloween, Halloween, Halloween. Happy, happy Halloween, Silver Shamrock. Happy, happy Halloween, Halloween, Halloween. Happy, happy Halloween, Silver Shamrock.
It's almost time, kids. The clock is ticking. Be in front of your TV sets for the Horathon. And remember the big giveaway at 9. Don't miss it. And don't forget to wear your masks. The clock is ticking. It's almost time.
Happy, happy Halloween, Halloween, Halloween. Happy, happy Halloween, Silver Shamrock.
Hey sinners, I'm Shannon,
I'm Sean.
and this is
Yeah.
Sinful Cuts.
Yeah, that pumpkin-y goodness.
That is a pumpkin beer.
Oh, the reason
in
we're
case you were wondering.
the reason we're cracking up, sinners, is because this is
This is technically take 2.
yeah, this is the sequel to our episode.
We've been talking for 5 minutes.
And I looked at
I hope
Shannon
it's only
and
5 minutes. I have no idea. And we and he realized, oh, I'm not recording.
Hey, Shannon. Fun fact. What do you think about podcast rehearsals? Because we were just doing.
Because we're literally doing
5
one.
minutes. I mean, right now, I'm glad we didn't do it, but nothing would have been funnier is if we got to the end of the episode and I looked at you and said, "Oh, by the way."
I was gonna say, thank God it was only 5 minutes in.
See this glaring red record bar? I forgot to hit that. So, sinners, hey, welcome. Here we go. Welcome to Sinful Cuts. Oh my God. Okay, I feel winded.
I feel winded too. All right. So what?
Yeah.
I feel like I'm saying everything all over again. Yeah,
What are we doing again?
Again. But you're hearing it for the first time. So, today's episode is going to be 2008's Let the Right One In.
And as I said to Shannon 5 minutes ago, is this the best, possibly the best vampire movie ever made? And we're definitely going to hash that out and see and compare.
Yeah, for sure. But it's definitely up there as one of my favorite vampire stories.
Hands down.
Hands down, yeah.
Hands
Yes,
down.
I thoroughly enjoyed the original novel by John Avide Lindquist.
You nailed it for 2 days. We already went through this, gang.
I did. I had to practice saying his name, and
Air high five.
And I totally got it. Great for the rehearsal.
I mean, now it's almost like the name's too easy.
I know.
John Avide Lindquist, whoopity doo.
Yeah, I'm gonna mess it up somehow.
It's a dangerous amount of letters in that name for my stupid mouth.
But we'll primarily talk about the Swedish version. It's almost impossible not to dip in the novel a little bit, as well as the
I definitely
American
wanna get into the
remake.
novel. Yeah.
Yes.
One of my favorite horror novels of all time.
Yes. So the primary focus again will be the Swedish version film, but we'll dive in a little bit of the novel as well as the remake. I've never seen the series
You can't
that
find
came
it.
out.
You can't
Wasn't
find-
it on Showtime?
It was on Showtime, and I'm like, you know what would be great? Because Sinners, I watched the original Let the Right One In, and then immediately watched Let Me In, the remake, and then I wanted to finish it out, and I went on, and it is currently unavailable. So
Really?
I think there's some stuff going on with this Showtime properties and what they're going to get rid of, because it's canceled anyway. They only did it's one and done. They just did
Yeah,
one
I thought it was
season.
supposed to be like a miniseries or something.
I think
Did I read that wrong?
I think it was supposed to go at least 3
Oh,
seasons,
really?
but they got it and
Oh.
it just only lasted one. But it's got, I mean, face kiss aficionado, Damien Bashir,
Oh,
who I adore. I love this guy.
Okay.
Man. So, yeah. Look, it'll
So-
pop up on Showtime.
maybe a lot of disagreements or something with that.
I
That's
don't know. I'm like,
Yeah.
why don't you leave us the fuck alone? It's just a tiny little vampire show. Like, how you know. Can't we all get along? You know?
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, so
You would
I don't
think-
know.
you would think so.
I don't know why that's in business limbo right now, but for sure, it is an intellectual property. It's going to land somewhere.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. So I'll seek it out eventually, just to
Cool.
check it out.
Sinners, if you have seen it, please, give us a shout and let us know if it's
Yeah, if it's
if
worth
it's worth
it.
checking out.
Yeah, for sure.
All right,
But
cool.
so before we get into it, we do have one blood letter.
Yes, we're going to do a blood letter. This one's coming from Adam, and Adam asked, "What is the best decade for horror?"
So we
Thank you, Adam.
thank you, Adam. So I'm definitely going to keep my original answer that I said in the rehearsal.
Yes, in our rehearsal lessons.
So I would definitely say it was the 80s. It was, but it was just like, it was just so much more like experimental things going on, so much different ideas branching out. And I just think the imagination factor of the practical effects, team was just at an all-time high.
Yes.
And it like just what the the projects that came out during that time were just so exciting.
You know what? You did not say this in our dress rehearsal, and that was the practical effects angle. I didn't even think about that, and that is the whole argument right there. And you win it. You win the internet, the interwebs, right now.
That's what I mean. Like, it was, they built like again, I don't know. I mean, we went into a lot of it during our Blob episode.
Yep.
Where either it came from a little round piece of Jello to multiple freaking parachute quilts.
Yeah.
Injected with
With milkshake thickener.
yeah.
And then some wackos,
And it looked
genius wackos,
it
are
looked-
like, this is
it-
going to work.
It looked terrifying.
Yes.
At the end. So the end result was terrifying.
Those wonderful, fantastic people who work in the FX community, I'm just so jealous, one, but always so in awe that, it's all this trial and error. Like, hey, you know what? I did this on a show, and it worked out pretty well. And what do you do? And then they cobble it all together, and they end up with something like what we saw in the Blob. Or I mean, come
Just
on.
one example of millions of examples,
Shannon,
but
How do you even? I mean, I get it. We're kind of talking about the practical effects angle, and hands down, the winner is always going to be the 80s. Like, you're talking about Rob Bottin's work on The Thing, and Rick Baker's work on American Werewolf in London. Again, I mean, they're definitely sitting there screaming at the radio right now, going, "Well, what about the fucking story?" We
no,
had
I get it.
we had great stories in the 80s as well.
I agree.
I mean, you've got a decade that has so the birth. Some have the birth, the flourishing and the death of, but you have so many different subgenres in the genre of horror in the 80s, from slasher to creature feature to psychological, haunted house movies with Poltergeist. You really have every single movie that you could possibly want from horror, some done by jobbers that produce incredible results, and some done by just masterful directors.
Yeah, you had such a variety.
Yeah. We don't have that now. I'm not saying that we don't have talented, really super talented.
Yes and no. I feel like we just have a lot of piggybacks
You know
right
what?
now.
I should correct my statement. We have tons of individuals who are out there doing it. We don't have the studio support like we did
That's
back
true.
in the 80s.
Yeah. So that's really not anybody's fault. Yeah. No, you're not wrong. Yeah. Yeah. But
So our answer
overall
is
answer
hands down the
to
80s.
Adam, the 80s.
But Adam, honestly though, check out 1958's The Blob. It's waiting for you. It's a humdinger. That poor bastard.
It's a dinger.
It's a dinger, all right. If that old bitty lady walked in right now, she'd say, well, it's not a dinger. And I'll tell you why it's not a dinger, because the doctor's not going to be back for 3 weeks. That motherfucker.
You're never going to get over that.
Oh, I'm
scene.
going as her for Halloween.
Nice.
Okay, so gang,
All right, that was a great question, Adam. Thank you.
let's get into vampires.
All right, so 2008's Let the Right One In. This was directed by Tomas Alfredson, who later on became very much known for this film, and then 2011 Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy.
Which I blathered on at our dress rehearsal.
Yes.
I will just say, incredible movie. Watch it.
And then 2017's The Snowman, which we also said we didn't get a chance to watch, but we do plan to watch.
I'm gonna try it. I know it got the boots to it, but I'm gonna try it.
I'm gonna try it. I saw the trailer recently, and I was intrigued enough to seek it out. So I'm totally gonna seek it out for sure.
Cool.
All right, so the general story of Let the Right One In case you are not aware. So it follows a boy named Oscar, an overlooked and bullied boy, finds love and revenge through Ellie, a beautiful but peculiar girl.
Yes.
So where do we even begin? So like I said, the novel came out first. I forgot the year, my apologies, but I believe this film came out soon after it was written, and what made this work very because apparently Lindquist is known as the Swedish Stephen King.
Okay.
Like he has, so it's, and I'm actually intrigued to read, because it wasn't until like I started researching this film to do this episode that I never really went on to, as much as I enjoyed his book, I never seeked out any other books that he has written, and shame on me for doing that, for not doing that.
Okay, I'll give you spoiler alert. I read Harbor. I stopped after that.
Okay.
I'm not saying that John is a one and done by any means. He has a lengthy catalog of books that he's written. For me, it's Let the Right One In, but fair enough. I have not read all his works.
Okay.
But that seems to be like his one, that's the Cracker Jack.
And most likely because this one was a very personal story. Exactly how it came to him, I didn't really confirm that too much. Did he just want to write a vampire story, or was he thinking about his own childhood and the bullies that apparently bullied him, and decided to write a revenge story? And I'm going to say the term revenge story because in the book, Oscar, who's the main character, 12-year-old boy, kids are cruel, bullied by these 3 kids pretty relentlessly.
Yeah.
In the book and in both films, honestly.
It's very Stephen King-esque.
Yeah.
The bullying.
Yeah.
Because, Stephen King is just like, the maestro of bullies. This felt like, boy, it was so... I don't want to say identical. John's doing his own thing, but it just really reminded me so much of just like the Buddy Reppertons in Stephen King, real shit heels.
Yeah, and apparently Lindquist's, he was very much bullied as a kid, and he said that there were 3...
I don't know anything about what that feels like. Continue.
I know nothing about it. There were 3 that bullied him, and he kept their first names.
Sweet.
In real life.
I love it.
Yeah, and that's why I say revenge story, because if you know the ending, boy oh boy. We'll definitely have to break down that scene, but yeah, it doesn't end well.
I'm gonna say hands down the best vampire ending to any vampire film. to date.
To date, yeah.
And I hold Near Dark so close to my heart. I love that movie, but let me tell you, this movie, it's almost like a documentary.
It's
Like, we're following this poor kid Oscar around as he gets, bullied left and right, and then a vampire moves in, and it's all captured
yes.
in real time. It's insane.
And when you describe this this story, again, whether you're talking about the novel or the book, because the Swedish version tried keeping as close to the novel as possible. And obviously there are a few things they definitely had to take out. I assume for time, and then I also assume just especially one specific scene. I don't know if they knew how to collaborate it on the screen for our eyes to understand.
Ellie's turning out to be castrated.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, just maybe not understand, because the American version did try. They did try, actually. It's a deleted scene.
I was going to say, I just watched that movie.
Yeah, no, it's a deleted scene that they tried.
Wow.
And then they were like, and even when they were filming it, like, no, this is fucking horrible. Because you have to remind yourself, this is supposed to be happening to a 12-year-old.
I'm crazy surprised that the American version even shot it. Good on Matt Reeves.
Yeah.
I wish it stayed in.
Yeah.
But okay. Even
I think they were just too disturbed while they filmed it.
You know what?
And
it opens up a door that you don't. I mean, I guess you don't necessarily need to really, explain it to death. But it's tough to have a quick scene like they do in the Swedish version where you just see the scarring. You
Yes.
see the after effects.
Yes.
Oh, by the way, I read that Ellie is about 300 years old. Had you?
In the book, I remember her being 250.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, all right, we've got this trauma, and we just get a quick glimpse of it, and that's it. And I guess knowing that they would really have to explain more of it, maybe I'm okay with just that glimpse, and then because then as a viewer, you're like, what? Okay, there's something that has gone on here.
Yes.
That now I think I understand why she's saying I'm not really a girl, because
Yes.
we're just assuming that she's saying
That
I'm a
she's
vampire.
a vamp. Yeah. That
Yeah.
I'm not a human.
Okay, I don't know. Maybe I'm liking it more now that it is so ambiguous, and it just lets us connect the dots.
It allows you to connect the dots. I liked how, because again, like, you can say the story and it sounds very, very simple, but really when you dive into it, it's so poetic on so many levels. Like the fact that it's even like it starts off like in the cold, how they meet at a at like a frozen playground, like, and they're both like tortured souls.
Yeah.
Like, obviously Oscar is very bullied, and he also has and this is really interesting too in I don't know if I honed in on it too much in the American version, but definitely in the Swedish version, because I remember Alfredson talking about this. So Oscar's parents are separated, right? And he primarily lives with his mom. He'll go and visit his dad from time to time, but his dad, they kind of dip into that. His dad has an alcohol problem, and his mom, I guess, overworks to support. As a single mom's trying to support the family, so she's not really around, and she doesn't even seem to be present even when she's physically there, when she's physically home. They have little moments here and there, but she's always, like, all the adults in his life, if you like remember like the filming, like, they're always like kind of in the background, they're kind of turned away, they're kind of blurred out.
You're spot on. In the American version, Matt Reeves purposely doesn't even show the mom's full face
Not
in any shot.
yeah, not really.
No, I mean, you don't
Yeah.
know who the person is, so
Yeah.
it's just this like figure.
Yeah, you hear her, and they decided to skip out on the dad altogether. I think he only talks to him on the phone.
On the phone,
Yeah,
yeah.
like, quickly. And he's still like, "Where's your mom? Get your mom on the phone." Like, he kind of shoots. So basically, like, the point is that, like, he feels like he has nobody, and that's definitely Ellie's character as well. And by the way, sometimes I'll dip into Abby and Owen. Abby and Owen, the names were changed for the American version. Why? Who knows? But I because we're not Swedish. I don't know.
Oh.
I'm not sure.
I thought the Swedish version captured the loneliness of Oscar. And all right, sinners, I watched the Matt Reeves version, Let Me In, and I liked it. Don't get me wrong, I liked it.
I like it as its own movie. I get the people pissed off about the differences. I think without those differences, though, then it's just like a shot-for-shot remake.
I feel like
And-
I'm going to come off saying it's going to sound like I didn't like this movie much at all, because I'm going to be comparing it to the original.
Yeah.
I definitely liked it, but it's way less than the Swedish version.
If Matt Reeves came across and made it first, if he made this version first, I think I would have been more mad, because I'm like, yeah, you definitely you missed the
You missed
point.
it,
You missed like certain key points from the novel, but now we have it already. Tomas
great
Alfredson
point.
did it
Yeah, it's a great
already.
point.
Now we have it. So Matt Reeves decided, like, oh, let me transition, maybe just a few differences. A lot of parts are like, again, shot by shot, what
Yeah.
they say, like maybe not necessarily the angles and everything, but the playground to me looked almost exactly the same, like in the condo co-op, wherever it is, the apartment area that they live, that almost looked identical.
Yeah.
Even though I know they filmed this in Sweden, they filmed this one in Albuquerque, like they were like two completely different spots, but they looked spot on. And then and the same thing with the puzzle,
the
Rubik's Cube. So they have a lot of similarities, but again, like the differences I've come to kind of appreciate, because okay, so the original, and I'm just gonna kind of call him a familiar, because it's the best way to describe it.
I was just calling him
is
Renfield.
The
I just
so
was.
but anybody who, like, I feel like that's just like the terminology everybody goes with now. Like it's not really said in the novel or anything, but so Ellie pretty much has like a familiar. In the Swedish version, his name is Hakan, and then I forgot his name in the American version. Forgive
Richard
me.
Jenkins plays the familiar.
Oh, he just plays the father. He doesn't even have a
not
name.
even a name.
I forgot about that. So that's why I can't remember his name, because he doesn't have one. But Richard Jenkins is the same is that character in the American version. So the difference is that Hakan is very much a pedophile.
Oh yes.
And and there's things that happen more so in the novel that that you never see. Again, maybe it was timing, maybe it would have been very disturbing. I'm not really too sure. It's again, I would definitely read the novel, because it's after the hospital scene. There's actually a lot more. There's like a whole nother scene that happens with Hakan.
Yeah.
And then, but either way, getting away from myself. So, what happens to Hakan? Because he eventually gets caught, and I think it's like in a gym or the basketball.
No, it's like a gym.
Okay, like he tries to get like, well, I don't know what he was thinking though. I'm like, you didn't wait for everybody to, I don't know, whatever. Like why wouldn't you
All right,
think that?
We need to talk about that.
Okay,
We need to talk about that, because it's so you think that he has been doing this, and you'd be right, for years, if not decades.
right?
And he'd be pretty good at this.
Yeah,
So his like haphazard, kind of half-assed, almost looking to get caught way he's going about these killings that we see leads me to believe that he's done.
yeah,
And he just really does want to get caught. He just wants to be out of this familiar life.
yeah.
That he's leading. So that's why I thought, like, and also the inclusion of the acid, this guy was playing out his end game regardless. Like,
Right.
he was either going to end up in jail or he was going to kill himself. It ends up, he chose B. But I felt like this was purposeful.
Yeah.
Like, he just wasn't, he couldn't possibly, if he was this much of a jackass and so bad at being a familiar, he would not have been a familiar for what's
For
implied
so
to
long,
be a
yeah.
pretty damn long time.
Right. Yeah.
Now, in Let Me In, and correct me if I'm wrong, isn't it revealed that Richard Jenkins is actually an Oscar?
So they
Version
it's-
1 Oscar.
Yeah, so in this version, they met when they were kids, and he fell in love with her then. And basically, what's happening with Owen and Abby, basically, they kind of hint that that's happened already with who's now known as the father. because he does come across a picture of the two of them.
So
and
like he's been doing it for what, 35, 40
yeah,
years.
and he ages, and obviously she does not, and that's
But-
kind of where we're at.
That's the that's a very clear choice. So the Swedish version, you and I are on the same page.
They're almost
that-
like an old married couple by that point,
Yes.
where like the original idea, they just have an understanding.
yes,
Like it's an understanding, like because I know, like, again, they don't do this in the film, but in the book, like, he'll just ask her to remove her clothes and she'll stand naked in front of him.
Oh, he's very much a pedophile.
Yeah.
In the book.
Yeah. She even mentions, like, I think only like a couple of I think I want to say it's like a handful of years she mentions in the book when she's talking about it. When Oscar picks up on what she is.
Yeah.
Like, and then, he's like, well, then who the hell is that guy? Like, is he like, I don't know if he asks, is he a vampire too? But he just,
And then the other side to that coin is then you've got Hakan looking at Oscar like, oh, well, there's my replacement. And I think there's some jealousy there because he does say to her, please
don't go
promise me
see
you
him
won't."
again. Yeah.
Yeah.
But, and I'll admit, I'm not too sure, because I don't remember that part in the book, and how, like, like if he has a thought process, if it, what goes on in his mind. But I'm not sure. Like, is it out of jealousy, or is it, like, oh, that boy might be in danger because you're a fucking vampire?
Oh, that's a good point. Or
like,
maybe he just doesn't want him to have eventually the life that he has.
Yeah.
If she is kind of grooming him to be the next familiar.
Right.
That's a good point.
Yeah, so I'll admit I'm not too sure what his angle was. Whether he thought he was protecting
Oscar.
whether he was protecting Oscar or if he was just being selfish.
Yeah, and
Like,
jealous.
you're mine and that's it.
It's a great thing about
It
this
could
movie.
be a little bit of both.
There's so many layers to this movie. That's what I love about it.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's do this. Let's just stick with the Swedish one for the time being.
Sure.
Because I know we can bounce back and forth, but let's stick with the Swedish one for the time being. Just
Yeah.
because I want to get into a couple of things that I don't know. You got to help me out here. You really got to help me out because Sinners. I just love this movie. I love this movie for a couple of reasons. It's what people, and I do not like this term, and I know Shannon does neither. It's what people call elevated horror, and I was just doing quotes with my fingers. They call elevated horror, which they're now putting on movies like Robert Eggers and The Lighthouse and The Witch,
The Witch, yes.
and Ari Aster with Hereditary in Midsommar, and it's so goddamn condescending. Horror's horror. The different people get involved in it with different skill levels, and it runs the gamut from real golden page to Oscar winning. But don't, this elevated horror title is really rubbing me the wrong way these days, because it's just unnecessary. So anyway, climb down from my soapbox so I don't hurt myself. This got a lot of recognition for being above the norm,
Right.
which it completely earns. I mean, this is like Jesus, like a Bergman film, and then all of a sudden they layer this intense, insane vampire story on top of it. It's like you're watching Manchester by the Sea, but he's a werewolf.
Yes.
I love this kind of movie because if you were to take out the horror elements, it would still be an incredibly engaging drama.
Yeah,
You know?
because it's not just a vampire film. Like, it's almost kind of like an underlayer in a way where
It
it's
just happens to be a vampire film, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, even look at how the movie starts with him being horrifically bullied, and Ellie doesn't even come in until the cab shows up 10 minutes into the film.
Yeah.
We didn't even start with her. This is Oscar's movie.
yes, it's all his point of view.
And his story is a sad story.
Yeah, it is. I think it's a little bit more sad in the book as well. Like, it's just,
Oh,
like
I can't say enough good things about that damn book.
I know, me too.
I gotta reread it now.
Shining curses. Damn you. But no, he's a very, very tortured soul, and anywhere he goes, at home, at school,
Can I ask you a question? And I need your opinion on this.
Okay.
Because I don't know.
Okay.
Is Ellie targeting Oscar as the next familiar because she has some sort of affection for him? Or is it because she's a 250-year-old vampire? Which means that she has a maturity of someone who's 250 years old. Why would she be attracted? And I don't want to turn it into a sexual thing. I just mean, like, why would she be compelled to pick Oscar? You know? Did she see something in him that reminds her of himself? You know, because we know Ellie is a boy. Like, I'm
Right.
so confused.
So okay, so she does mention. I don't think she mentions it in the American version, but in the original version, she mentions to him because like you can hear him say like. He's repeating what the bullies say to him,
Yes.
right? And he has the knife in his hand, and he's visualizing
Squeal like a pig.
squeal like a pig, and he's stabbing the tree, outside or whatever. Keep in mind, she can hear him.
Yes.
She hears him, so she's like, "What is this all about?" And then and now she sees a little 12-year-old kid stabbing. So she's like, what's happening?"
So that's my thing. Is she
I
like...
think she was like, what's going on? And then, and he grabbed her attention.
Or is she like, oh, I'm literally hearing this kid's CV, and he checks the boxes. He is, will kill for me, has no problem stabbing. Like, is she checking off the boxes of like, yeah, this kid fits the bill, because this guy Hakan is on his way out, because the dude's in his mid-60s, late
Yeah.
50s, early 60s.
Yeah. It's possible it started off that way. It's very possible.
Now,
I do think that, yeah, I mean, I think she just heard him, was intrigued to check it out. And then they started a conversation, and they immediately started, maybe not immediately, but friggin', because that was what was supposed to, at least that's how it was written. I just happened to know that. Like, it was written that they start like a just a romantic, liking to each other.
That holds true. And I'll tell you, this theory, kind of goes out the window when Ellie comes back to the pool to save him. Had she just been looking for a new familiar, and then she's like, I gotta get out of here, she just would have kept going. So the fact that she comes back, I think, does demonstrate that there is some sort of connection there.
Right.
But still, like, the end of the movie in both versions is Ellie's in a trunk, Owen / Oscar are on a train, destination unknown, and they're just tapping and doing their little Morse code, and that's great. It's a great little ending of the movie, and everyone's happy.
Do you know what they say?
What?
So you hear her first, and then he does it first. The word was kiss.
Oh,
They kissed each other.
okay.
Ooh.
Okay. And all right. Shannon's booping the microphone. And I hate... Look,
Technically, I'm booping the sinners, but you got it.
this is such a nice, tender moment, and I hate to ruin it. I hate to ruin it by saying I can't help myself.
Hold on,
I'm like,
hold on. Let me get my beer.
yeah. I'm like, okay, Oscar. What's the plan after the train stops?
I am so happy you asked that. I am pointing hard at Sean right now.
I'm getting pointed at.
I am so happy
Sinners.
you asked.
Okay, let
Now,
me have it.
We
Let
all
me have it.
know. Now, Sean, we all know you love books, right?
I love books so much.
So apparently, I learned
Join us,
just
will you?
recently that Lindquist wrote a sequel, a short story version
Okay,
to
I'm listening.
continuing their story a little bit.
How old's
called
Oscar now?
Let the Old Dreams Die.
Was it about him trying to fuck that trunk off the train platform?
I can't tell you that.
Okay.
I can't tell you anything
Because that's all I kept thinking about.
because honestly, age is indeed a factor, and it tells you all you need to know.
Okay. Oh, let the old ones die. Okay.
Let the old dreams die.
dreams die.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna read this
I
damn
literally just borrowed it.
Okay.
For my Libby app because I I don't know.
All right, so you got to read it.
I
and
have
then
a
you
library
gotta,
app.
you got to let us know at a later episode.
Oh yeah, for
All
sure.
right, cool.
Yeah.
Cool,
And
cool,
again, and there's other stories involved that unrelated. It's another, like we were talking earlier before about Stephen King's like short version.
Oh, yeah.
Short stories. So this is very much like that. So it's one of the stories that continues Ellie and Oscar's
Oh, man, I got it. Now I
story.
have to read that.
Right?
Okay. All right. Okay.
So,
All right. Consider it done. I gotta read that.
mhm.
Oh my god. Okay. All
So,
right.
haha.
I think I need to leave the podcast right now and go get this book. This is going to torment me now. Mm-hmm. All right. That's what. But I love it. I love it. All right. So there is a continuation to the
Yes.
story that could possibly answer the questions that I have, because I was very concerned that a 13-year-old child, how are they even going to get a shelter?
People probably had all those questions, and maybe that's why Lindquist was like, you know what, fuck faces.
All right. I mean, Jesus, he didn't need to get crazy on us. But okay, John.
Here's your answer.
All right.
And,
Okay.
and I'm going to say this now, actually. I have yet to finish it, too. So,
right.
but it was while I was researching it, and I basically got a spoiler, which I was just like, and then I heard the spoiler first, and I was like, whoa, where did that come from? And then that's when I realized, and my brain exploded.
Oh, God dang it. Okay. All right. Okay.
And immediately went to my library app, found it, and I'm like, borrow. So now I have to read it. But
That's
yeah,
crazy.
if anybody's curious to continue the story, apparently
I'm
let the
curious,
old
please.
dreams die.
Okay. All right.
So
Cool.
We'll
Cool,
find
cool.
out together, I guess.
Okay. I've got just a couple of notes. So thank you. That helps. Ish.
Ish, yes.
When I read the
can't-
short story, we're either going to fight or everything's going to be fine. Okay. All right. Couple of notes I just wrote down quickly. All right, we got to talk about this because the very first scene with Oscar, I want your opinion on this. He's stabbing the tree, or sorry, he's in his room and he's got the knife and he's in his underwear and he's saying "squeal like a pig." It's very sexualized. "Squeal like a pig" is from Deliverance. I mean, you can't hear that line and not think about that.
Yeah.
I feel like there's this undercurrent of sexual violence throughout the entire movie, but
Okay.
it's very subdued. But it's just like the three boys picking on Oscar and them telling him that he's their little piggy. There's that kind of weird dynamic, the bullying dynamic.
Yeah,
but it's
yeah.
almost like it's so much that it's almost sexualized. Like he's like Andy Dufresne with the sisters it's leading to, There's the sexual violence that happened to Ellie, the castration.
Yes.
Then it's almost like the oasis of Ellie and Oscar finding each other.
Right.
Is this why Ellie, when I think about Ellie being a vampire, 250-year-old vampire, I feel like she can read his thought. I don't know these things, but I'm assuming like she can just basically identify who he is and what he's going through and his situation almost immediately.
Yeah.
So
I like I said, I think she senses it immediately.
Yeah.
And then as soon as she sees the cut on his face, she's like, "What happened there?" And he mentions like, "Oh, these
And
three
she's
kids
saying,
are so," and she's immediately like, "You gotta hit back.
You gotta hit back harder.
You gotta hit back much harder."
Yeah,
Oh, but there's three of them. Hit back even harder.
And
Like she was like, "You can't let them do that to you."
We eventually know what happened by Ellie not fighting back harder.
Yeah, so
You
the
know?
or she, who knows if she was even able to. So so spoiler alert here, what you don't necessarily find out in the movie versions, either one. So Ellie says she's not a girl. Again, you can go on that, she's not a human, she's not that she's not a human. However, her story is she was turned at 12 years old because obviously they don't age, and her name is actually Elias.
Yes.
And she was a boy, and apparently was castrated first and then turned.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I don't remember why. Like, what was the point of this? Like, he just seemed like a. They made him seem like a fucking like almost like the Grim Reaper in a way.
Yeah.
Right? Like, because didn't he have a bunch of kids lined up?
Yeah.
Right. So this was this must have been just a fun free for all for him. I don't know. Like.
you have to think, okay.
But it must have been fucking horrible.
So this would have been at the end of the 17th century.
Yeah, I think they mentioned the 17th century.
Okay. All right. So I don't know. I think it's pretty ambiguous in the book of why it's happening. It's happening.
Yeah. So, and I know we only learn this, and Oscar learns it too when she kisses him. She's able to transfer her memories. Like
That shot is incredible in the movie, where it pulls back a little bit to reveal Ellie, but Ellie now is like,
she's a much older woman.
Yes.
It looks like, yeah.
Like, but
so
almost like a
that's the
decrepit
only
witch
that's the
kind of
only
thing.
feel that they kind of give you. That where and I think in the American version they don't even kiss at all.
No.
So they you don't get that at all. Again, maybe it wasn't Reeves' story part to tell, but again, I know that's another reason why people like hate that version.
The subtle things that they do with Ellie in the Swedish version to illustrate that she really is non-human.
Yeah.
Just like the lapping up of the blood, but the tongue is like extended and like nasty long, and the eyes, how it's like
They
raccoon eyes
change, yeah.
in the dark, and just like, I just love those little bits. What we just mentioned, the reveal when she's kind of like mind melding, for lack of a better term, with Oscar, and you get a peek of how old she is. The makeup was so reminiscent of when Ingrid Pitt in The Vampire Lovers, the Hammer horror classic, The Vampire Lovers, she eventually starts to turn into the aged Elizabeth Bathory vampire. She starts aging at the end. It reminded me a lot of that.
Okay.
I got a nice little Hammer horror buzz off that for a second, which I absolutely love. But I love those little bits because they didn't knock you over the head. They didn't announce these things.
No.
They just very subtle. And then Shannon and I were talking about in our dress rehearsal how the American version, it stands on its own. It's a solid movie. Matt Reeves directed the hell out of it, and look, it is what it is. But they're very, I hate to say this, I hope I don't insult anybody, but they're dumbing this movie down for American audiences.
Well, I think he just wanted to, maybe not necessarily the main focus or whatever, because I know Matt Reeves went into it, because he knew that this was a personal story to Lindquist, and he felt that being apparently bullied himself, and he's like, I totally get it, I get where you're coming from, and I would love to do, an American version of it. And it turned out that Lindquist really enjoyed Cloverfield and was like, yeah, have at it.
Yeah.
And again, whether they talked about the differences that Matt Reeves planned to do, again, I just personally think that we got the story already. Let's have some fun with new camera angles. So, like, the way Hakan gets caught in the gym, and then the father, in this version, we get that awesome car crash scene. I think that's an amazing scene.
That scene is the best scene in the movie. He directs the hell out of it.
Yeah.
The stunt's incredible. The camera, the cinematography is incredible. That trumps the original version for sure.
Yeah.
Now, here's my problem with, or my wish, I guess I should say. The American version, I could have followed Richard Jenkins as the father and had a movie about him.
Yeah.
And that would have been insanely entertaining and creepy and effective.
Yeah.
Like,
The garbage bag was his idea. Was Richard Jenkins' idea.
It's scary as goddamn thing.
Yeah.
It's so scary.
But, like, you can still see, I feel like you could, like, even when he's, like, killing the first victim that he does successfully, like, I feel like you can still see it, like, in, I think you only get one eye, but, like, you can see in one eye, like, he doesn't want to be doing this.
No.
Like, he's not enjoying this.
No.
At all.
No.
It's only, like, necessary.
No.
Right?
I mean, again, it's tough when you have an actor of Richard Jenkins' caliber, and then he's in the movie, but only sporadically, and then he's not in the movie, and you're like, oh, I really miss watching Richard Jenkins. And we got another 45 minutes. But with that said, I mean, everybody did a bang-up job in the remake. It is a solid film in its own right. It's just, the original just happens to be better,
Yeah. Like I said, I think we that they, and again, being a Swedish writer, and then keeping it in Sweden, there might have been more of an understanding of the author, where he was coming from, the places he might have been talking about, the culture, the environment. There might have been just like a better understanding and wanting to stick to as close to the book as possible, where, the American version kind of went into it like, I don't want to use, like, not obviously taking it seriously. I think they took it very seriously, but, just decided to tweak it,
Yeah.
basically,
All right.
into his own project.
My my next note is being a Renfield sucks, which is it just is the worst possible thing you could be is a Renfield. I mean, they're both actors, both characters in both movies just are so miserable.
Yeah.
So miserable with their lot in life.
Yeah.
But,
Another tortured soul. Like, that's, like, and that's what it is. Like, that's, like, the poetry behind this story, right? So, it does follow the point of view of Oscar, but everybody else is, for the most part, their own, like, tortured soul, Like,
you get a really good, you get a lot of you see a lot of the different lives of the apartment complex and the surrounding neighborhood with the drunks. I mean,
yeah,
assuming,
like
but
there were the locals.
The locals.
They were, like, middle-waged society. They get together. I think they're talking about, like, politics, and they argue amongst themselves over what's going on in the world and blah blah blah. And they get together.
It felt like a nice little community, even though it was kind of like a rundown apartment complex. People kind of maybe like on their heels a little bit, or everyone's kind of got a story of why they're there. I love that. I mean, it just fleshes it out. It made it really, really interesting. They chose to get rid of the locals aspect in the remake.
It was just a couple that Oscar happens to have a peeping Tom bird eye view.
I would have a problem with it, but they did a smart thing, and they chose to replace that with this detective storyline, and that actor is Elias Koteas.
I was gonna say, and his name is Elias, yeah, which I found interesting. But
this guy can hold the screen, and he's so damn interesting. He's such a great character actor. Here you have a movie with Richard Jenkins and Elias Koteas, and you're just like, oh my, it's not even my birthday, So I love seeing him, but I did miss the locals. I feel like that's better.
Like I said, I think it was just solely because, we got it already. It's done before.
I guess.
And I don't know, maybe not. I'm not sure.
What I didn't like about the remake, and this is personal choice, is that they gave Ellie like stupid janky vampire movements.
Abby, they gave her.
Abby, sorry.
They gave her like movements. You mean, or
the movements? How it's it reminded me of the '90s, like that House on Haunted Hill remake. With Jeffrey Rush with the like staccato,
like Gothic, like the Gothica,
Yeah.
friggin' like stop motion, like not stop motion, but
you know what I'm talking about. There's just like that is the sound centers that it makes.
That's what you hear. Yep.
It doesn't need it. It just doesn't need it. Vampire's scary enough, and it's more effective if it's just this 12-year-old girl, and she's overpowering a larger man. That's scary enough.
Yeah.
They don't need the Again, I'm leaving for Hollywood on Monday to start my career. Don't worry, sinners. Don't worry. It's happening.
They're gonna love ya. But
Just a
I
personal
think I know
choice.
what you're talking about. I don't know. I don't think I didn't mind it,
Okay.
honestly.
All right.
I get what you're saying though, that like we didn't need it because we didn't really get that in the Swedish version at all. Like but she does like absolutely climb a tree at a very fast pace, and you just
Right.
you hear it, and all of a sudden she's up there, and like it's like the camera does like a smart like pan up where she's too fast for the camera basically, per se, if you want to go with that. And so they played it off that way.
Okay.
And I'm sure there's a quick cut scene that is seamless because I didn't see it.
I didn't see that.
And all of a sudden she was at the base of the tree, she went up, and then they did like a pan up where like she kind of went like behind the tree, almost kind of like when a squirrel like
Yeah,
runs
and
away
then
from you.
shimmies right up there.
But then he goes on the other side, so I never see the squirrel like go up the tree.
The
So they
direction
kind
in
of
this
played
movie
the
and the
angle. They
cinematography.
they
Oh, boy.
played the angle that way, and then as the camera keeps panning up, all of a sudden she's at the top of the tree.
All right, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
I'm just peppering Shannon with questions. This movie really confounded me. All right, but this is more of a general question. Vampires. The only monsters that have like an exhaustive book of rules, or am I missing? Like werewolves, you just turn into a werewolf and probably don't touch silver. Like, okay, there's like one rule.
Okay, I see.
The
what
Mummy?
You're saying.
I don't know, don't unravel.
Don't unravel,
But there's no
as we saw in Monster Squad.
right. Phantom of the Opera, nothing. I'm just going through the Universal monsters, guys.
Frankenstein,
But,
or
like,
Frankenstein's monster, I should say.
Nothing. Like there's no. Okay, but I'm
Okay,
doing
yeah,
something
there's a lot.
stupid,
There's
though.
a lot of rules.
I'm following Universal monsters.
And
Let's talk about mythology in general.
Okay.
And monsters and folklore.
Well, this one, well, no, I actually no, they do play this at other ones. Like they have to be invited in. I guess. Actually, I'm not too sure. I always thought the whole like invitation coming inside, because for some reason vampires were the ones, was a type of lore that were seen as like the devil spawn, like demon spawn, and now and there's kind of some belief in the I might be kind of messing this up because whatever with religion, but you can't let the devil control you if you don't let him in.
Oh, so that's the invitation.
That's where I thought that
All
that
right. I'll
came
buy that.
from with
I'll buy
vampire
that.
lore.
Okay.
Was that answering your question? What is the question?
No,
Like, wait a second. Did I answer anything? Gonna have more pumpkin beer.
The question, yeah, I was just gonna say, the question was, no, you definitely answered, yeah, I mean, did you answer the question? The answer is no. You did not answer the question. But,
About to do a spit
no,
take.
but I don't know that you can answer the question because we don't know all the folklore, but it just seems like vampires have an exhaustive list of do's and don'ts.
Of rules.
Where
Yeah.
other monsters kind of get a pass, like you just be a monster and have at it.
Yeah.
Where vampires are like, you got to invite me in. I got to be home before the sun comes up. I have to sleep in my own dirt, which they didn't do for this movie. Like,
No, she like kind of like makeshifted a coffin, which is probably something she's always done,
yeah.
like utilizing the.
Okay, so
bathtub.
no dirt, but we did have
Yeah.
of course.
Dirt I haven't seen. I feel like in too many things. Like I totally get it, but I remember it in like the last thing I remember it being in is True Blood.
It's huge in Last Voyage of the Demeter.
Oh, okay.
Well, Dracula. You
Okay.
know. I think it's in Fright Night. I'm pretty sure it's in Fright Night. Fright Night has a lot of those rules.
Okay.
You know, Jerry Danger has to be invited in.
That's true. Yeah.
I mean, of course, it's
You can use a cross, but you have to believe in it.
You have to believe in it.
There's no reflection.
it's interesting. This movie didn't have anything to do with any religious angle, which I appreciated.
I don't think it needed it. I don't think it was. I
You
don't think
don't.
it was about that.
You
It would. It would have.
Isn't it interesting? Both movies, the American version didn't lean into that at all either.
No, and I honestly think that was kind of smart because it didn't seem to live anywhere in their lives. Which, if it did, I don't think it would have made sense. It's possible that I don't know. I think it played out without the religion just fine.
Me too.
Yeah,
Me too.
I don't think it needed it.
It would have been hat on a hat. We don't need it.
Yeah, it would. It might have been out of place.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so we'll just sinners. If you know of any other monster that has a worse list of rules than a vampire, by all means, educate us.
Do you think that's why they glamorize them most of the time?
Yeah, because it's kind of
like it's cool to be a vampire. I'm like, but is it?
nah,
Like, is
it's
it?
totally not. It's like there's just so many friggin' rules, And then it just seems like, you can't, you say goodbye to a Snickers. It's, that upsets me the most.
I would totally sit out until the sun comes up. Nope.
It does. It just bugs me so much. I always feel sorry for vampires that's it. They're just blood. Okay, good for you. All right. You know what's delicious? Everything but blood. Everything is better than blood.
Everything else is just fantastic.
That's just me.
Yeah.
Okay, so all right, I just was curious about that in case I was missing something.
Yeah.
Like you were gonna be like, oh no, the Tasmanian devil. Oh,
But I did want to. But I did want to bring up too the just another thing that I really enjoy about this story. Again, whatever version you want to even say, is the fact that she is that this is not glamorized at all. She is indeed like
this is 180 degrees
a
in
monster.
the other direction.
Yeah, like she is indeed a monster. That. Yeah, I mean, she's forced to be one, I get, like, she has to live on blood, so I totally get that, but she's not, like, even when he sees her, like, he tells her, like, you smell funny, like, she doesn't see the point of looking nice and bathing, and, like, there's no point, like, because why, where does she go? She doesn't go anywhere.
And also, everything's on that sliding scale of blood intake. When she does feed, she looks so much better.
Yeah.
The hair's actually done, and her skin is not blotchy, and it looks nice, and she doesn't
look sickly. Yeah.
So I love that the further away she got from feeding, the worse that she looked. It was just such a nice little touch. But so I agree with you that I think my absolute love for this movie is that, like Near Dark. Near Dark, though, they're like nihilistic sociopaths that are just cutting a swath through the West, and they're just like hedonists.
Okay.
Where Ellie is more of an accurate depiction because it's just lonely, and you're constantly moving around, and why would you want to keep going on?
Yeah.
So, but that brings up an interesting point as well, because you're like, well, Ellie, you have full control over your end date if you choose so.
Yeah.
So, like,
she chooses to survive, which is which I actually find interesting on her as well. Like, even though she's just kind of, just floating through life, hoping somebody helps her out, is engaged in whatever, because I really don't think she personally enjoys Hakon's company.
Oh, I don't think so at all.
It's, I don't know, maybe in the American version, again, the way they play it off is maybe she did at some point. But in the original version, I don't think she did at all. And typically I think she mentions like older men, certain men, that have a certain
Yep.
liking. They were the easiest ones to, for her to get them to take care of her, so to speak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I bring that up that Ellie can end this at any time and just walk out into the sunlight because Ginia, the local of the group of locals, drinking locals.
Oh, Virginia.
Virginia, sorry.
Virginia, yeah. They call her like Ginia for short. Yeah, but it's Virginia.
I mean, she realizes what is happening,
or she's like, that girl infected me somehow.
I shouldn't even say realizes, but she's like, I'm not me. I'm not well, and
I'm becoming something else.
Knows that she can end it, and chooses. That's a conscious choice. Could you please open the blinds?
Yep.
What a great scene.
Yep.
Oh my God.
Yep.
I mean, talk about the flame shooting up and then spilling over the ceiling. It's like you see that for the first time, and you're like, "What is happening here?" Oh my God!
The nurse said that too before she went on fire.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is that?
Oh, it's filmed so well. Oh my God! I really do love this movie. So, you have conscious choices of, okay, I can end it, I can keep going on. Of course, Ellie keeps going on. Then, we've talked about, okay, Oscar is going to be the next in line of familiars. Not arguing whether or not there is actual affection there. I think there is.
I believe that there turns out to be. Like I said, maybe not in the very beginning. I think it's like any other love story of them coming together. Like, so Oscar eventually finds out what she is. Even her, you know, like, you kind of assume that, you know, maybe he finds out her story. Again, they don't really give that to you in the movie version. You have to kind of know it from the book version. But he sees through that. He sees all of that. He sees her physically kill somebody, you know, whatever. And he still, like, looks at her and adores her, and he loves her, and he'll do anything for her.
He's got puppy love.
And I think
he's 12. He's got puppy love.
I get that, and I think in turn, she falls for him too. I think it's possible that she started to leave to protect him. Like, the body count is rising. People are starting to notice, hey, this didn't fucking happen until you came along.
Hakan screws everything up.
Well, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, she's pretty much has to beat it. There is a scene where they do kiss.
Yes.
After that scene where you have to invite me in and it's very graphic, she starts to bleed.
Yes.
It's another thing. I was always curious. What if they just come in?
And that's the only rule, like, I've ever seen that happen.
Right?
Where everybody else, like, it was almost like a shield. Like, they couldn't physically get through.
Yeah.
You know?
This was great. Oh, it was
Yeah.
great. So there is this scene which leads me to agree with you that there is affection there and there is some sort of genuine love, because they kiss, and of course Oscar is kissing with his eyes closed, and it's his first kiss, and Ellie's eyes are open, and it's like almost very like Predator, because she's just looking at him. Then she does close her eyes, you know. So I'm like, oh, okay. I think there is some genuine affection there. It's very confounding. It really is. And I cannot believe that when I really peel the onion back, I'm like, why am I rooting for a 250-year-old vampire to fall in love with a 12-year-old boy?
Because you can't help it.
I just,
Yeah.
yeah. No, you're fucking me up with this short story now. I wish I read it, and now I'm going to read it tonight, and you're in a lot of trouble, man.
He's gonna text me like 3 o'clock in the morning.
Are you kidding me? 50,000 exclamation points. So, okay. So, I wanted to bring up the kiss. Oh, I wrote another note. Oscar's runny nose is a real fucking problem for me in this movie. We all knew that kid growing up who just never wiped his goddamn nose.
Yep.
Oh my God. I'm not going to say the name, but I had this kid sit behind me in math class in 10th grade. And every day I'd turn around and I'd say, blow your fucking nose. Just half a pound of snot on this kid's lip. And the kid was fine. There was nothing wrong with this kid. He absolutely had the ability to blow his nose. He just chose not to. And then Oscar's giving me those vibes. So I was being triggered all over again.
Like, I just want to take your nose.
And I'm not going to say the name, but you know who you are. God damn you for not blowing and wiping your nose.
And if you're a #1 fan, thank you.
Oh, yes, please. Oh, by all means. And that is CIN.FUL _. So that was a problem for me. I had many moments with that. But, all right. So my last note for you.
Did your eyes start twitching?
I was like, come on, please. Just do you have a sleeve? For fuck's sake, Oscar. But it did illustrate just like the helplessness and patheticness of Oscar, that it was effective.
Yes.
Okay, so let's get to the bully's death scene.
Yes.
I wrote down the bully's death scene is so good and so satisfying and so very Stephen King, which we brought up. Kill those kids.
Yeah.
3 exclamation points.
Kill those bastards.
I mean, you have to love a movie that just says, yeah, we're gonna go everywhere.
Yeah,
everywhere.
Yeah, there's fuckers. I don't know.
The way this scene is filmed is so good. It's just so good. Everything is so crazy lit because you're in this, Aqua Center, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And
I think they kind of filmed it the same way too, like where both the kids were like on a trapeze where they were dipped into the pool.
Okay.
And and then they took like body parts that obviously prosthetic heads, arms, limbs of all kind, and they just threw them in the pool.
I didn't see this in the movie theater. I saw this on streaming.
Okay.
And I probably watched that scene a dozen times.
Yeah.
Because the first time I saw it, I was like, Are you kidding me with this? Are you kidding me that somebody, I mean, I get it that they had the blueprint of the book, but somebody finally filmed a vampire attack the way you think it would actually happen.
Yeah.
Just absolute, pun intended, batshit chaos.
Yeah.
And carnage. And it makes me think, again, I got to go back to Stephen King. There's a short story in The Night Flyer that you got to read if you haven't read it.
Yeah,
It's
I know of it. I never read it.
Oh my god, it's such a great short story. I haven't watched the movie. I got to find that. But anyway, it is about this just carnage.
Yeah.
Limbs ripped out, eyeballs, just everywhere. And this, finally, I saw a movie that instead of like a stake through the heart and someone gets bit on the neck and it's all very, it's kind of chaste in comparison to what we finally got with this movie.
Yeah.
I just, oof.
It's definitely about what you didn't see. And again, because
Yes.
that, because this is all supposed to be Oscar's point of view. So you're with him under the water,
Yeah.
hearing what he's hearing.
The muffled.
He's not panicking at all.
The muffled. Yeah, no. Oscar seems to be like in his own little world. He's like, I
Yeah.
think I can do 3 minutes.
I think I'm just going to stay out here for a little longer.
It's just.
I mean, he has been training, for fuck's
This
sake.
is true. This is true. And then the fact that there's that one little kid who, like, he just doesn't even want to be part of the bully group, but he just goes along with everything.
And I'm trying to remember in the American version, like,
No,
everyone dies,
Or
right?
Morbius.
Yeah.
Well, there's not. They don't have that kid in the American version. They got rid of him, but he's still there covering his eyes. Like, there's just so many incredible elements to that scene and how it plays out.
And a couple different scenes, like that one kid, like definitely he didn't want to bully. Like, why are you friends?
No,
like
they
he was
were-
probably asking himself that. Like, why am I friends with these fucking kids?
It's just this insane circle of bullying. The shitty lead bully is being bullied by his
Connor,
older brother.
I think.
Con. The other two junior bullies, they would probably be friends with Oscar, but they're being bullied by the jerky kid.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, and then it resonates because you're just like, oh yes, high school, or middle school,
Yeah.
and you're like, yeah, no, this checks out.
Yep.
So, but their sweet comeuppance, it's so delicious.
It's so good. It's so good.
It's so good.
Yeah.
And then we're on the train. And then you know how I feel about that. But now I gotta read this fucking short story and you're tormenting my life. So, okay.
So, I mean, obviously it ended that way. It was very on purpose because it was just, at the time, I mean, I don't think Lindquist knew at the time that he was going to try to do a sequel. Maybe he didn't even realize, like, how big this story would get. There's a lot of those, I think with authors. Like, oh, no, I wrote it because it was very personal to me.
Yeah.
And, and then people, like, just sense the poetry and tend to get drawn to it with... I absolutely understand that, for sure. So, I just, wait, where was I going with that? I lost my train of thought. No, I think he wrote the ending with, for your imagination to find, to just imagine what could happen next. But Lindquist did go in with it saying that, because it could be a tragic ending, it could be a happy ending. Like, you can determine either one.
I haven't landed
to
on one
Lindquist.
yet.
To Lindquist, it was a happy ending.
By the way, I have a cheat for us. Whenever we lose our train of thought, we just say, and that is why the 80s are the best decade for horror.
And you're like, wait, did you just trail off to a completely different subject? Yes.
So, I consider this one of the best vampire movies ever made.
Yeah.
For my top three would be Let the Right One In, Near Dark. I'm a huge Fright Night fan.
I love Fright Night.
I think
Fright Night's up there for me.
Let's expand it to top five. Are you going Lost Boys?
So I absolutely love Lost Boys.
But is that in the top five?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Okay.
It's in my top five for sure.
Oh, Francis Ford Coppola's Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Top five?
I was gonna say, yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, it's
Me
up
too.
there.
All right, so I only have one more slot left.
So, and I have to admit, I only just because I enjoy the story, I have to kind of go with 30 Days of Night. I loved that movie.
Tempt me with a good time, why don't you?
Yeah.
Yes! That film is so nihilistic.
Yeah.
But also a very beautiful ending.
Yeah.
I actually. Oh, I like that ending.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a mush for that one.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Hold on. I wrote some down. Let me just make sure we're not missing one.
And Josh Hartnett had a better haircut.
He did. He finally got normal human boy hair.
Josh Hartnett kisses all over your face.
Oh, he's a delicious little man. He's actually 15 feet
I
tall.
was gonna say he's very tall, actually.
All right. I have to throw these at you. They're not in my top 5, but where do you fall on the Christopher Lee Hammer horror Dracula? Like horror Dracula, Brides of Dracula is Hammer, but Christopher Lee's actually not in it. But that one's a banger. Sinners, Brides of Dracula. If you haven't seen it, oh boy howdy, you got to see this movie. So good. It's got Peter Cushing as Van Helsing, so no Christopher Lee, but you get Peter Cushing.
Yeah. So I think they might have, not that they're bad. They might just be a little outdated for me. I guess.
Okay.
I
No, I got you.
that's really the only thing I can say about
Okay,
it. That's
no,
it.
just
I
wanted
don't
to know where you
Yeah.
fell on those.
If everything else that we just named maybe didn't exist, then yeah, it'd be the most amazing Dracula vampire movie of all time.
You were just like,
But-
if there was no such thing as food, dirt would be delicious. Okay, all right. They're only my favorite movies of all time. But okay, well, Sinners, you're listening to the last episode of Simple Cuts. What about? All right, I'm gonna throw. Okay, this is the last one I'm gonna throw at you.
Okay.
And then we'll wrap up and we'll do Smash or Trash.
Yeah, I was gonna say we have to do our Smash or Trash. Yeah.
Okay, Salem's Lot.
I never saw.
Oh my god.
I know.
Oh my God.
I know. I'm about to light.
Oh my god.
That's me lighting on fire.
Okay, promise me you'll watch.
Oh, I'm gonna watch it. Yeah.
You're saying that.
I'm gonna watch it.
I feel
No,
like
no,
if you were
it's-
gonna watch it, you would have done it by now.
I was hoping you didn't ask.
Okay, all right.
But here we are. But
There's-
yeah, no, shame on me. I'm sorry.
There's 2 versions. There's a Rob Lowe version, and there's the original David Soul. Do the David Soul.
Yes.
There is a movie that was made of Salem's Lot that is now in limbo.
Oh.
It makes me very nervous for the quality of that film when it keeps getting pushed back.
Yeah, same. It's never a good sign.
Not a good sign.
No.
So
It's kind of like Morbius, how that kept getting
Yeah.
pushed back, and we know how that turned out.
yeah, we do. Yeah, stinker. So
Spoiler alert, not a good vampire film.
yeah, I don't even like. I'm like, is it a vampire? But anyway, fuck you, Marvel. We're coming for you. We're not Marvel.
We're not.
Please don't sue. Okay, Salem's Lot it's a made-for-TV movie, so it kind of sometimes it gets knocked out of the the lineup. But you got to watch it, and we'll circle back at a later date. Okay.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll dedicate an episode to it.
It's funny though that, like in my mind, there are so many vampire movies. Like my theory is, there's like 3-4 good werewolf movies. There's lots of them, but there's only like,
Good
let's say
ones.
4 or 5.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a good dozen to 2 dozen solid vampire movies
Yeah.
with like an all-time top 5. Just
Yeah. Because there's
absolute
many,
bangers.
and there's many versions that I enjoy. Like, I actually really enjoyed the first 2 Underworlds,
Okay.
honestly. I mean, granted, that's both,
Okay.
technically, but I think that was a solid story, and the way it was executed was really well done. Like, I
Okay.
enjoyed the first 2.
I have
again.
to bring up Twilight.
Okay. No.
I'm gonna go.
I'm like, wait, and I'm like, how many insulting words, and I'm just gonna sum it up. No.
I'm gonna insult everyone. Fuck Twilight.
Yeah.
Fuck Twilight.
Yeah, and I even like read the books too, and when here's the thing, like, because just in case anybody's like, but wait, you went and saw it. So I did. I went and saw all the movies in the movie
Okay.
theaters. Now, it was always a girls' night out.
Okay.
It was a couple girlfriends. We would go out to dinner. We grabbed some drinks.
No need to justify.
And then we would go in the theaters and we would laugh our asses off at
vampire
the
baseball.
atrocity that we saw.
right.
And and don't get me wrong, because I'm a huge Robert Pattinson fan.
Sure.
Was it the reason I went? No, I heard the books got a big buzz, and then I started reading the books.
Okay.
And at first I was kind of like, I mean, it was okay. It was a cute story. But then I'm like, and then as it kept going, I was like, what is happening? What is happening? What's going on? And then the way it, like I said, we had a good time laughing and making
This
fun
is
of it.
the only thing I'll give Twilight because it really you can't like 30 Days a Night and Salem's Lot and Let the Right One In and then also be like, but I also love Twilight. You just can't. You just because one is just graphic and like this is what it's really like. As I say about something pretend, but this is an accurate depiction again about something pretend. But you know what I'm saying?
I
that
get
it's
it.
just it's the warts and all, and they're not romanticizing anything. You could pick up on some romantic elements, but they're not doing it purposefully. And then this movie is just like glowing and all that shimmering.
This is I feel like Twilight was solely like what is going on in a high school girl's mind. I just want to find like the perfect boyfriend who is infatuated with me and he's only cares about me. And because I can't tell you how many stories that I heard where these girls would like high school age girls would get mad at their boyfriends because they simply didn't act how Edward acted.
God.
without going into the details of their stories because it doesn't matter.
These girls never came across a moody 16-year-old teenage boy. Where are you looking?
But Edward wasn't.
Oh, Edward kisses on your shimmering face. Yeah. So, all right, we're getting.
But
off.
anyway, we're going way off topic.
We're getting off Twilight.
That's all there is to say.
I
about
was just
Twilight.
curious, but I will say this about it. Look, gateway horror, sure, okay, we'll give you that. Are you ready to play Smash or Trash?
I'm totally ready to play Smash and Trash. Smash or Trash?
Smash or
It's
Trash?
Yeah, obviously, not Smash and Trash. That's a whole.
I love it, and I hate it. All right, we just got like a quick dozen. All right, so Sinners, Play at Home, Smash or Trash. Now these are like B grade vampire movies.
Okay.
That doesn't mean they're bad, just B grade, like not top tier-ish. So all right, you ready?
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna start out with Smash or Trash, Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
I'm assuming the movie, right?
Yeah.
Smash.
Okay.
I love that movie. I don't give a shit.
I never saw it.
Oh.
All right.
I get this series was probably one of the best series I've ever seen on
Oh,
television.
so it's double smash.
It's kind of a double smash.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ridley Scott's The Hunger with David Bowie, Catherine Deneuve, Susan Sarandon. Never saw it?
I don't think I ever saw it.
All right, Sinners, that's a smash. Okay. Ethan Hawke, Daybreakers.
I love that movie.
Yeah, that's a smash.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Smash, yeah.
Luke Evans, Dracula Untold.
Oh, is that the one where he was Vlad the Impaler?
Yup.
And then I loved that one. Smash.
I like it.
Yeah.
I'm going to be Smash Light, but we're smashing it. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. I thought it was a very interesting take on that story.
Okay.
Yeah, I liked it.
This one gets... all right, you got to bear with me on this one now. Underworld Original. Number 1.
Oh, well, I already said it. Smash it.
Number 2.
Smash.
Number 3.
No.
Okay.
Trash. Absolute trash. 4?
Does it go 4?
Trashier. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right, 2 smash,
Awful.
2 trash.
Awful. And the only thing I can
Wait,
say...
which one's the one I like? The Romeo and Juliet. Is that 2? The werewolves, it takes place back in the day.
Oh, wait. I'm sorry. I skipped one. My apologies. I'm
3
sorry.
might be good.
I was following Selena's story only. I forgot. The third one is the back in the day. My apologies. I did like the third one.
I love that one.
My apologies. So
Okay.
it's 4 and 5.
Okay.
Then, because that continues Selena's story, and all I have to say, CGI werewolves,
Yeah.
and the story was meh.
3 smash, 2
Yeah,
trash.
My apologies. I got that mixed up.
Fright Night.
Smash.
Fright Night 2.
Do I remember it right now? I know I saw it. I need a scene to bring back my memory, or maybe.
Roller skating, vampire.
Oh no, trash.
Okay.
Doesn't the werewolf get killed by a rose?
The best scene in the movie is when he's
The guy on roller skates.
when the girl closes the window on his paws, and he's like, "Oh, and he falls into the bushes." Okay, you're giving it a trash. I'm giving it a smash.
I mean, I guess it depends on the mode, I guess, because you could definitely play like a drinking game. It's one of those drinking game movies. Like, I will totally watch this piece of
Oh,
garbage.
it is not a smash. I just can't. I have a soft spot for it. But
You know,
it is total trash.
I totally agree with you on that. I get it, but but as a whole, it's trash.
It's trash. Okay, we talked about Twilight. We're trashing it.
It's trash.
Trash.
Oh yeah.
All right, John Carpenter's Vampires.
I like it.
That's not
I
a
didn't love it.
smash.
I didn't love it. Yeah.
trash.
Yeah. Is there in the middle? Is it recycle?
This
Recycling
game is
bin?
called Smash or Trash, Shannon.
Is that like is there like
Okay, you
a
can
middle-
you can recycle. You can recycle.
because it's I definitely didn't love it. But it's not like it was better than Friday Night 2.
She's got a point, Sinners. As much as her words hurt.
And it's
has a point.
and
It
it's
is
better
better.
than Twilight. Come on.
It is entertaining as hell and as gory as hell. Yeah, it's just...
But it doesn't land. Like
And
it's
it-
just kind of
And then you got the John Carpenter lineup, and you're like, oh, where do I put this one?
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Life Force. Toby Hooper's Life Force. Vampires from Space.
I never saw it.
Okay,
I think I want to say I technically, not technically. I trashed it when I saw that trailer, and I just never watched it. But that's not fair. So
it's a campy bonkers movie. I gotta smash it.
Okay.
But that could be through the lens of nostalgia. I
Okay.
haven't seen it in a while. It could be trash. But anyway, okay. So
So recycling bin for now.
Okay, a couple of oldies here now.
Okay.
We have Vampire Circus.
Never saw it.
Okay, that's a smash.
Okay.
And you gotta check that one out.
Okay.
Twins of Evil.
I never saw that either.
That's a smash. Gotta check that one out.
Okay.
These are the sweet spot of vampire movies from Hammer Horror during the 60s, where like everyone looks like they just got out of, like, everyone looks like Keith Moon. Or their inspiration was, who should he look like? He should look like Mick Jagger, you know. And it's just a lot of fun, a lot of almost orange blood, which I adore in these Hammer Horror movies, but they're fun. Okay, so what about Blackula?
Did I watch that in full? I don't think I watched it in full because I couldn't take it seriously. So that might be a trash.
All right, Trish,
me.
I'm smashing Blackula, and I'm also smashing Scream, Blackula, Scream. I just love those movies. Okay,
Okay.
ready for the last two?
Okay.
No, sorry, last one.
Okay.
From Dusk Till Dawn.
Oh, I love that movie. That's a smash.
That's a smash.
That's a smash.
Okay, that's all I got for you.
All right.
I think we had a, but that, look, just proving my point. There are so many vampire movies, and the majority of them are pretty damn good.
Yeah, I would have to agree.
All right, cool. All right, look, Sinners, I think we sussed out this vampire movie pretty well. This is one in an endless list of vampire movies that we're going to have to get to. Okay,
But this really stands out on its own. It's definitely worth checking out.
I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit.
Okay.
We're going to do another vampire movie. We already have our lineup for like the next 6 movies, but we'll do another vampire movie eventually.
I'm sure we'll come across one.
What would you like to do? Can I throw one out there?
Sure.
Lost Boys.
Okay.
Okay. All right. We're gonna get the Lost
Done.
Boys.
I was thinking either that one or 30 Days of Night.
No, 30 Days of Night. I like yours better
Okay.
because I want to rewatch that.
Yeah.
I mean, I know I'm gonna see Lost Boys at some point on like Fear Fest or whatever, but I definitely want to watch that. Also, hard right turn here, Sinners. David Slade, who directed 30 Days of Night, actually has a new movie out called Dark Harvest that's on video on demand. It got dropped on video
Right.
instead of a theatrical release. I'm hearing good things about it.
Okay.
This is the guy who did 30 Days a Night, and I'm hearing it's crazy gory.
Okay.
I'm going to check that out.
Yeah.
Okay, so anyway, just wanted to put that on your radar, because David Slade also, you know what he directed the hell out of as well? Hannibal. Not the movie, but the series with Mads Mikkelsen.
Oh, okay.
He did a lot of those episodes.
Okay,
Yeah, I
okay.
like David Slade. He's a good dude.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Sun's coming up. We got to get out of here.
Yeah. And also, too, by the time this airs, happy Halloween.
Oh, yeah, happy Halloween,
This is our
sinners.
Halloween episode.
Look, have fun, stay safe, eat all your candy, watch a lot of horror movies.
Yeah.
You know? Okay. As always, Shannon, why don't you take us out of here?
That's a cut. Pew, pew, pew.
Why?
Happy, happy Halloween, Halloween, Halloween. Happy, happy Halloween, Silver Shamrock. Happy, happy Halloween, Halloween, Halloween. Happy, happy Halloween, Silver Shamrock.
It's almost time, kids. The clock is ticking. Be in front of your TV sets for the Horathon. And remember the big giveaway at 9. Don't miss it. And don't forget to wear your masks. The clock is ticking. It's almost time.
Happy, happy Halloween,